Hey class, very good morning. So it's been long after which we are doing the second part of the gift of chapel summary. So first, before I continue with the second part, I will give you a short summary of what we had studied in the part 1 for the story A Gift of Chapels. Okay, so first, we saw Mridu, who's the main character of the story, who's a young girl growing up in Madras, which is now formerly known as Chennai, with her Tapi. Tapi is called grandmother in Tamil. They call Tapi grandmother. How we call Dada Dadi? For their Dadi, they call as Tapi, and for their Dada, that is grandfather, they call Tatha. Okay, so one afternoon, her Tapi grandmother takes her to her aunt's house, Rukumani's house, to meet her cousins Lalli, Ravi and Meena. These are the 3 cousins of Mridu. Now, as Ravi and Meena, her cousins, are visited by Mridu, as soon as she comes, they pull her inside the home. So she left her slipper at the gate with a pair of slippers which is very old. While she's leaving her slipper, she leaves it next to a pair of slippers which is really old. As I showed you previously, the pair of slippers which were very old, and she didn't have that time to check whose slippers were it. It was very torn and very old, very used one. Okay, Ravi then took her to the backyard. She took Mridu to her backyard behind a thick butterberry bush, where Ravi showed her a kitten in a torn football sack, who was sipping milk from a coconut shell. You can see here a torn football sack where the kitten is set and is sipping milk from a coconut shell, empty coconut shell. Now Ravi says that they have secretly kept the kitten as it might annoy their grandmother. Ravi also comments that if her grandmother comes to know that they have a kitten at home, she would leave for her Patu Mama's house. Now here Ravi comments on a double standard of elders. He tells that it was difficult for him to manage milk for Mahindran, the kitten. Now this Mridu giggles and laughs out really loud, but she's on the other way very happy that Ravi has kept a realistic name for the kitten and not like any fancy kitty names like Tommy, Saki, nothing like that. He has kept a real name for the kitten, Mahindran, and she is very much amazed with that. Now, this Ravi tells his connected story behind the name of the kitten, why he has chose to keep Mahindran as the name of the kitten. Now he tells that the kitten is a descendant of Pallava lions, the emblem of Pallava dynasty. You know, right? I explained about the Pallava dynasty, which is at Mahabalipuram. Now Mahabalipuram it's located in Tamil Nadu in Chennai, where you could see ancient different kinds of Pallava temples over there and different goddess, which is also known as Tathas. So he says that this Mahindran is a rishi cat, and he keeps on adding it that cats are worshipped in ancient Egypt. He had admiration for himself during the conversation. He was so gone through while he was doing that Mridu and Meena both couldn't control their laugh. Then, while this conversation was going on, while Ravi was explaining why he had kept this name as MP Pune, they hear a screeching sound of the violin played by Lalli, who had not yet learned it properly. She was still trying to learn. So they look into the window, try to peep what Lalli is doing. So Lalli was learning to play violin from her music master, who was a bar-headed and with an old-fashioned tuff. And the physical description of the whole music master has been described here. He's wearing a gold chain and a diamond ring, where Lalli is sitting in front of him trying to learn the notes. But her tracks were really annoying. Because of that, she was not playing it properly. It was not pleasing to ears. where the melodious tune came out from the master's expert hand. The way the master played the violin was so beautiful that it was really pleasing to the ears. But the attention was diverted because Lalli was not playing it properly. You could see that here. It's Lalli. Yeah. Now here Lalli tries to learn notes, but her tracks were annoying. Were not in the melodious tune as it came out for the master's expert's hand. Now at this moment, when they are absorbing this, Lalli and the music master, a beggar was at the store tap calling from the back veranda. And Ravi's mother screams and says that Ravi, please send the beggar away. It's been a long time that he's been coming here to beg. Now it's time for him to look for another house. So Lavi, Mridu and Meena goes to the veranda. And what they see that beggar has spread a cloth to settle himself under the neem tree. Ravi asks him to find another home for begging. The beggar pleads him for generosity from the ladies of this house, because he says that the ladies of this house were very generous and they never dived him away. But this time he says that when Ravi says that her mother has to go away, the beggar begs for generosity as to why they are asking him to go away without giving anything. Now this was the part 1, what we had learned in the previous video. Now we'll move to the part 2. The beggar opened his eyes very wide and gazed at each of the children one by one. He says, the ladies of this house, in a voice choked with feelings, a very kind soul. I have kept my body and soul together on their generosity for a whole week. I cannot believe that they would turn me away. He raised his voice. Amma, oh Amma. Sad his wail might be, but it certainly wasn't feeble. It began in a deep, strong rumble somewhere in the withered belly and came broming out of his mouth, with its few remaining teeth stained with beetle chewing. You can see the teeth stained with beetle chewings. Ravi, tell him there's nothing left in the house. There's nothing left in the kitchen called Rukmani. So Rukmani from inside shouts and says that ask the beggar to go away, as there is nothing left in the house and it's time for him to go away from here. But Ravi did not have to tell him anything, because Ravi Amma's voice was so loud that the beggar heard himself. She was really sounded fed up, very frustrated. So it was very loud that Ravi didn't have to repeat it at all to the beggar. What his mother said had been easy for them all to hear there under the neem tree. Now the beggar sat up and sighted. Sighted means look. And he said, I'll go. He said wearily, sadly. Only let me have rest here under this tree. The sun is so hot. He points the sun and says that the sun is so hot. The tar has melted on the road. The tar, the black color coal which they apply the tar on the road to make roads. And my feet are already worn out. They are burned. They are blistered. He stretched out his feet to show a large pink peeling blisters on the sole of his bare foot. You could see the blisters, the burn marks on his feet. I suppose he doesn't have the money to buy chappals, Mridu whispered, said to Meena and Ravi. Mridu said this to Meena and Ravi. Have you got an old pair in the house somewhere? Asked Mridu. I don't know, said Ravi. Mine are too small to fit his feet, or I would have given them to him. And his feet were larger than Mridu and Meena's too. So it was not possible to give their own pair of slippers to the beggar. The beggar was shaking out his upper cloth and tightening his dhoti. He raised his eyes and looked fearfully at the road, gleaming in the afternoon heat. It was very sunny that day. He needs something on his feet, said Meena, her big eyes filling with water. It's not fair. She was very upset taking the beggar. Shh, said Ravi. I'm thinking about it. Blubbering. It's not fair. It's not fair. Isn't going to help. This is not going to help. In 2 minutes, he'll be frying his feet on the road. What he needs is a pair of chappals. So where do we get them? Come, let's search the house. He pushed Mridu and Meenu into the house. Just as they stopped into the veranda, Mridu's eye fell on the old-looking chappals she had noticed when she arrived. Ravi, she whispered to him, whose are those? Ravi turned and glanced at the shabby-looking but sturdy slippers. He beamed and nodded. They are just the right size, he said, picking them up. Mridu and Meena followed him nervously back the garden. Here, said Ravi to the beggar, rubbing the slippers in front of the old man. Wear this and don't come back. The beggar was very happy. The beggar stared at the slippers, hurriedly flung his towel over his shoulders, pushed his feet into them and left muttering a blessing to the children. In a minute, he had vanished around the corner of the street. The music master came out of the house and took an unappreciative look at the three of them sitting quietly under the tree. He was wondering, these children are sitting silently and playing marbles? Strange. Then he searched for his chappals in the backyard. He searched and searched, but he did not get it. So he called after a few minutes Lalli and asked her that, have you seen my chappals? Ravi and Mridu silently watched Lalli and the music master search every corner of the veranda. He scurried around looking over the railing and the crouching near the flower pots to look between them, but they were not able to find. He started murmuring again. Brand new. They were brand new. I went all the way to Mount Road to buy them. Now Mount Road is just a name of a street and it's not more of a famous place in Chennai. He went on saying they cost a whole month's fees. Do you know that? We all know how that slippers were, but he says it's brand new. Now basically those slippers were of the music master. Now we came to know that. Soon Lalli went into to tell her mother. Rukmani appeared, looking harassed with Party following her. Party, her grandmother. Where could they be? It's really quite upsetting to think. Someone might have stolen them. So many vendors come to the door. Party. Rukmani caught sight of Ravi and got suspicious, looking at Ravi, Mridu and Meena sitting under the tree so silently. Have you children? She began, and then seeing them, they were little scared now because Rukmani was getting little suspicious, curiously quiet, and went on more slowly. Seen anyone lurking around the veranda? A sharp V-shaped line had formed between her eyebrows. Another straight, tighter one appeared in the place of her usually soft, pleasant mouth. Rukmani was angry, though Mridu with a shiver, shaking legs. She wouldn't be so upset if she knew about the poor beggar with sore on his feet. She tried to tell herself, talking to herself. Taking a deep breath, she cried, Rukmani, there was a beggar here. Poor thing, he had such bald on his feet. So, said Rukmani grimly, turning to Ravi, you gave the music master's chappal to the old beggar who turned up here? Are you mad? Children's these days, groaned Party. She got angry. Amma, didn't you tell me about Karna who gave away everything he had? Even his gold earrings? He was so kind and generous. Silly, snapped Rukmani. Karna didn't give away other people's thing. He gave away his own thing, and you gave away other people's thing. That is music master's chappal. How silly are you? But my chappals wouldn't have fitted the beggar's feet. Ravi rushed brashly on. And Amma, if they didn't fit, you would really not have minded. Is it? Ravi asked. Rukmani was very angry now. Go inside this minute. She hurried indoors and brought out Gopu Mama's hardly worn chappals, occasionally worn chappals. They were new chappals. This should fit you, said. Sir, please put this on. I'm so sorry. My son has been very naughty. The music master's eyes lit up. He put on them, trying not to look too happy. Well, I suppose this will have fit me for now. These days, children have no respect for elders. What to do? Anna Hanuman incarnate. Only Rama can save such a naughty fellow. Now Hanuman incarnate means a replication of Hanuman. Rukmani's eyes flashed. She didn't seem to like Ravi being called a monkey. Even a holy monkey she didn't like. She stood stiff and straight by the front door. It was clear she wanted him to leave quickly. When he had clattered off his new chappal, she said, Mridu, come in and have some tiffin honestly. Tiffin. Honestly, how do you children think of such things? Thank God Gopu Mama doesn't wear his chappals to work as he walked towards the kitchen. She suddenly began to laugh, but he's always in such a hurry to throw off his shoes and socks and get into his chappal as soon as he comes home. What's your mama going to say this evening when I tell him I gave his chappal to the music master? Laughed Rukmani. Now you see what a silly thing it was. The poor children gave away the new old pair of his teacher's slippers to a poor beggar. Though they gave it unknowingly, it was not their own property. Moreover, the music master got a new pair of slippers instead of this old looking one, and still he was trying to pretend as if he was not so happy. But on the other hand, he was really happy. And we also come to know about a character sketch of the music master as to how greedy and how to how, very choosy kind of person he was. So, coming to the conclusion of the story, it was about a mischievous and simplicity about the children's behavior. This tells you all about the children of their own simple heart and their beautiful thoughts. They wish to explore every aspects but act according to their own logic. Here the children gave the chappals to the beggar, and then the music master, without hesitation, their sensitive heart melts very easily when they come into such situations. So this chapter gets over by now. I want you all to read the chapter once again, mark down the hard words or any words which you still don't understand, and the physical appearance of the music master, his character sketch is one of the really important part, and how the children portrayed their simplicity in this chapter is also one of the important point to be noted. Thank you.